Darkness imprisoning me. All that I see, absolute horror. I cannot live. I cannot die. Trapped in myself, my body, my holding cell. Crazed images, jumbled words. My little fingers going over and over through the tingly sands, trying to make sense of the ritual of letters. I was diagnosed with learning disabilities when I was 9 in 1975, back when retard was a valid word and was used often by my fellow students. My parents both have disabilities. My mom has a more severe learning disability and a speech impediment, and my father was totally paralyzed with Guillain-Barré syndrome when he was 20 and has some learning disabilities. So they were not afraid to get me tested for learning disabilities, but my school would not test me. So my parents took me to a friend of theirs, a psychiatrist, to test me. I can't remember anything. I can't tell if this is true or dream. Deep down inside I feel to scream. This terrible silence stops it there. I don't remember much of my early years of school. Like I said, it's a jumbled mass of images. The example of the tingly sands was my parents drawing the alphabet with my finger through sugar, trying to form tactile memory. My dad positioning the rearview mirror so I could read his lips to associate sounds with the shape of his lips. My dad was a teacher of the love of words. He pushed me to think of new, more extravagant words to explain my world and to debate with him. My mother taught me perseverance, strength, and the love of reading. Perseverance, because even though she has a more severe form of learning disability, she fought with her high school back in 1964 to graduate at the age of 21 because they would not graduate her because she lacked the math credit, because she could not multiply. Strength. She would not leave. She fought. They finally passed her and she graduated. She did all this as a poor, half-native woman with disabilities. She gave me the love of reading by example. Even though words squirmed their way around the page for her too, that did not stop her from reading to her children. She read to me into the 6th grade. My special ed classroom was an old gym locker room with all the lockers still there. They had put up posters up on the lockers trying to make it look like a proper classroom, but failing miserably. The only thing I remember learning there was how to frost a cake. When I went into 6th grade, my family moved to a ranch where I went to a one-room school, where they taught 1st grade through 6th grade to a one-room schoolroom. No more special ed classroom for me. It was the first time I heard about history or science. I could listen in on story time with 1st graders or travel with Lewis and Clark with 6th graders. I went from reading sight words like cat and dog to reading on a 4th grade level. Reading from that moment on became a passion, magic. I went into junior high, or what they call now middle school, with some heavy trauma. I was just coming out of one world of darkness created by a jumble of corrupted images trying to be letters into a new darkness. Darkness imprisoning me. All that I see, absolute horror. I cannot live. I cannot die. Trapped in myself, my body, my holding cell. Junior high was integrated. I had special ed classes and regular education classes in my science class. You could go on a field trip if you had a C average, and I would only have a C average in my dreams, so I was not allowed to come on the field trip. My mother tried to argue my case, but the school would not budge. Did that stop my mother? No. She followed the bus in our car and had me get out at every stop and listen to the lecture. Was I mortified? Yes. Did I learn a valuable lesson? Oh, so yes. Eventually, the powers that be got sick of us following them and let me on the bus. In another mainstream class, I wrote a sexy note to my boyfriend that was intercepted by the teacher, who started to read it out loud to the class to shame me into obedience. When it started to get too sexy, he stopped, looked at me and said, "Mariah, your only job in life will be to bring your husband a beer when he barks for one." The only thought I had was, what the fuck? Is that what you say to your wife? After many years, I would tell this story to people, and they said, that motivated you. And I would think, I don't care. I think my parents and myself motivated me, not some caustic prick. What is it like living with multiple learning disabilities? Not knowing if you have the right change. Being afraid to write a check because you have been shamed before because you have spelled something wrong or transposed a number. Messing up recipes because you don't know what the fractions mean. Not knowing how to get to a garage sale because you can't read a map. And so much more. Please, God, wake me. How does my story end? Through many trials and tribulations, I eventually graduated from college with honors in English literature with a minor in philosophy. How did that happen? With the dedication of myself, the unrelenting support and tutorship of my husband, who I've been happily married to now for 35 years, and the many supports of Student Opportunity Services and Disability Support Services at the University of Montana Billings. And as always, thank you to my parents, without who none of this would be possible.